This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
This is the area where the general community will come in. You'll pay your admission and head on into the rest of the museum. We also are adjacent to the ever-present gift shop in every children's museum.
And this is the hallway that will lead into the Pickaway County Library as well.
Direct connection.
Moving on to the Build It, Test It space.
This area here is the Build It, Test It area. You're going to be able to launch rockets. You're going to be able to build race cars and send them down a racetrack. And then once they're down at the end of the racetrack, let's say one of yours won and one didn't, and you can make adjustments to that race car. You want bigger tires, littler tires. I don't know, a different driver to make it go faster, but the whole idea in here is literally to build it, test it, try, fail, try, adjust it, try it again, all in a safe environment. And that, though, is relevant for kids ages probably 5 or 6, clear up to 12 and 13 will especially love this area.
And this really came out of our community assessment we did with some of the teachers. We had a lot of teachers telling us over and over again that kids are afraid to fail, and kids are afraid to try something and then go back and fix it. I think with the testing culture that they have now, things like this are not something that they necessarily are able to do as much in schools. So we wanted to be able to offer a space and provide them an opportunity to do those things that they wouldn't necessarily get to do in school setting.
And unless you're failing, you're not learning.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
This ball roller coaster area will be what is on this wall, so the kids can start at the top and let their ball get from the beginning to the end and rearrange. And I love the fact that it's open to their imagination. There's no set instructions on what they have to do with that. And that's so different than what they have to deal with all day in school.
So this is our county experience. You'll see our blue blocks here against the wall. You'll see when you go into the museum world, no children's museum is complete without their own set of blue blocks. So that is from the last event that we had. So this space in particular is to focus on what makes our county unique and the industries that we have here in the county to get kids involved in the local industries early. So this comes back to that community assessment piece, wanting to get kids involved in the different industries at this young age. So you'll see on our little board over here, there's some pictures of it, but against this wall there'll be a bee climber. And so one of the big things that we have here in our community is not just agriculture, but we also have a really strong beekeepers association. And so tying back the fun nature of like the actual made up beehive, but then also that ties back to the agricultural community. There'll be a farm stand, farm markets over here along this wall. And then down the hallway, we also have an auto garage as well as a clinic that kind of ties back to this.
The focus of the clinic is to be determined. It could be a vet clinic. We have quite a few vets in the area. It could be a medical clinic. I don't know that it matters either way because a lot of that intertwines. So like if you're giving an x-ray to a dog or a person, that the end result is the same. It's just that hands-on, the kids get to do it, what they've maybe been exposed to. But that's why we're here. We need money to finish these exhibits. We have the space. Now we'd like to build the bigger, better things beyond just some of the small hands-on stuff so that we can complete our mission of providing entertainment and learning at the same time for kids ages probably anywhere from 6 months, because behind that wall will be a plop zone where you can plop the little kids, and clear up to the goal is 13 and 14 years old. So I think 7th, 8th grade, which really hits that sweet spot where we're missing in our community.
And then also not just the space, but the programming that we can then provide in some of the spaces, especially when we get to the multiplex space, that we can really age up that material And then there's also been conversation about having skilled nursing facilities come into this space as well. We have a lot of retirement community in this area. So a lot of people, when they're in different stages of dementia or any kind of neurological disease like that, kind of revert back to a state of childlike play. So making sure that we have opportunities for them to come into the space as well in certain time periods. So it's really a community space.
Yeah. When you talked about aging up exhibits, that made me think of, we do have a full education committee, which has probably, how many on it?
30, and they're all former educators.
Yes, and they're actively working. They're the ones that devised all of these fun events for the last two Insight events
Yes.
that we've had. Their input is invaluable. So we are using all volunteer local resources to do this local project.
They're the folks that have done it with the kids over the years. Tap into that experience, right?
Exactly.
And they come with a whole wealth of knowledge that they just think about things way differently than what somebody that doesn't come from an education perspective does. So it's fun to see how their brains work in comparison to ours.
Yes.
This is the plop zone. This is where your
Yeah, so everything's going to be short and little, and the kids can come in and crawl around and poke and prod and twist and turn and punch and pull, all the things, and get their hands on. You know, they want to do it all anyways, and safe place to put them when a little bit older child's going to be right out here in this other area, climbing on the bee climber and selling vegetables to their little brother, that kind of thing. The fun stuff in this corner.
So this is slated to be the clinic, which is kind of what we talked about already, just getting kids involved and hands-on with different x-ray equipment, things like that. Still an ever-evolving space. And then this will be the auto garage over here. The light hasn't popped in on that one yet. There we go. That's perfect.
More fun space.
And we can show you
This?
these spaces also, yes. So one thing we really wanted to make sure that we could do is make this facility accessible for everybody. So we have an adult-sized changing table for anybody who has those needs, so that they can come and make this space their own as well. And to this side, we have a nursing/quiet room. So obviously for mothers who are nursing their kids, as well as some kids who have sensory needs, who might need a break from the loudness that could be available in the main space when there's lots of kids running around. So we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to come and be able to experience the space.
So this area is the Pickaway Hub. It's going to be where we can focus on the really local stuff, more about displays. It's going to probably be turned over more frequently, but for instance, like we could have a whole section that maybe features Wittig's candy, because you know they are the nation's oldest confectionery, located right here in Circleville. Of course, we know Pumpkin Show is probably going to have a display. I don't see why Asheville couldn't have a display. It's going to be really Pickaway focused, really just more of that quiet area and more of the museum type, read and learn about it type space.
And I think too, this is an opportunity to bring some of the kids' artwork maybe, or if they have like a design competition at school, maybe this is part of where it gets displayed after they've like won that competition. So really focusing on the people, places, and things of Pickaway County and the history that goes behind it. So this room was designed very specifically, so you'll have doors on both sides, and you'll see the bottom part of the doors are closet over. So if mom and dad doesn't want to take the little one into the water room and get them all messy that day, they do not have to. But for the ones that do, this space is going to focus on the specific areas of water that we have here locally in the county. So like the Taze Aquifer, Walnut Creek, Parkus Lake, all of those natures, while also being a fun place for kids to play.
Yes, water table kind of through here, a couple other exhibits back here. This is one of the most expensive spaces, so, but it is also one that draws the most people. So it's the one we're looking to probably get done first, because who wouldn't want to bring their kid, let them make the mess here, and then let us clean it up, right? This space is the flex space, so we can bring in all kinds of, this is your birthday party space. This is your, maybe we will rent a couple exhibits that are different. Maybe this will be where we have a Saturday night science experiment all about beer and how to brew your own beer for the adults. So it's not limited to just the kids. And you know, like when you go with your granddaughter to the Children's Museum, you're probably having just as much fun as she is, right? Yeah.
So the main thing that's out this direction is our group entrance. I don't know if you told them anything about that. So things like field trips, things where they want to take kids off the bus, they can come in this door and then come settle them down in the multi-flex space before they let them out into the museum entirely. So that's what that main door will be used for on this end of things.
That's the release.
Yes. And then some of the other spaces that we haven't been through are just like offices and like our security room and storage. So this will be the entrance into the inspiration station from the library. One thing we didn't mention is that this inspiration station would not be possible without the Pickaway County Library. They have kindly gifted us this space for $1 a year lease for 25 years. So that has really been the seed that made the inspiration station come to life with the 9,000 square foot space that we have.
One of the other cool aspects as far as being able to access the Children's Museum is to be able to borrow an admission ticket to come into the museum. So that's an option. There'll be other connections with other, is it Children's Museum?
Museums for All, yes. So the Museums for All program offers reduced or free admission to children's museums for kids who are WIC eligible.
Oh, very nice.
The grant program that we're planning on being a part of.
Good.
This also gives us a great opportunity to have combined partnership with the library's programming. This is obviously the children's space that we are in right now, so to be able to have the more quiet things here, and then we can take the messy, fun, not fun, but the messy, more experimental side of things into the inspiration station.
This has been a long time coming. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. You're almost there. We'll get into fundraising in just a moment, but tell us first of all where we are now at this point in time from where you began.
So we just finished construction at the beginning of this year, which renovated the main space. So this used to be 3 separate units that has all become into one cohesive space. So now we are working on the exhibit fundraising piece, and so that will build out all of the fun things that will actually be permanent in the space.
And it's coming together pretty well, isn't it?
Yes, very quickly. Well, quickly is a relative term.
It's funny actually, when you go to the American Children's Museum conferences, there's an emerging museum track, which is where all the young museums are grouped together. And we were shocked to find out that a lot of the museums that were barely ready to open their space, or some of them didn't even have a permanent location, were 6 or 7 years down the road. So what we found, it seems like it's taking a long time from our side of things, but and maybe the communities, but in all reality, we are light years ahead of a lot of emerging museums.
Yes, relatively speaking, we were hoping to have it done in 18 months.
Yeah.
So,
very optimistic group we have.
It's good to think that way, though, isn't it?
yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like your build a test it room.
Exactly.
Yeah. What have you learned along the way?
Wow, what haven't we learned? Best bet? Gosh, that's a hard question.
Yeah. I think some of it too, this is an all volunteer group for the most part. I mean, I work for the foundation, but the main group of people that are working through this are volunteers. So just translating the different schedules and things like that. From the construction side of things, people are used to working with people that are solely responsible for making decisions, where this is a group, a volunteer board from the foundation and then the committees that also help make these decisions. So it was interesting to learn that just the conversation piece of things looks a little bit different for contractors and things like that.
The level and amount of communication, it does slow down slightly because we are trying to connect with so many people and get all those schedules aligned so we can have meetings and have discussions. I'm really proud of all the local and volunteers. Like the volunteers like came out of the woodwork. We sent out maybe one social media post, did a small boost to it, and had, gosh, how many responses? Like,
It was so many, I don't even remember.
yeah,
off the top of my
so
head.
many hands make light work. So it's been great to embrace that and then know that this is literally a grassroots, ground up, Pickaway County, born, bred, and raised kind of project.
And I guess when you think about it, you've got young minds who will be coming in here learning. You've been kind of doing that yourselves, only on a larger scale.
It's very true, yeah.
Yes, I do give a lot of credit that we found, I say we, the group found the Children's Museum Association, and we have sent representatives every year now.
Yeah.
So the wealth of knowledge that's there we've tapped into that.
And it's also really exciting too, because I feel like in our county we collaborate and work really well together, but that's not always something that happens in a lot of spaces. But with the children's museums, we found that they are all super willing to help you and share their information and their wealth of knowledge. I think when you're all working towards the same goal of like bettering the lives of kids and people's quality of life just generally, it makes it really easy to work together.
And when you talk to them, you can say, well, this is what worked for us, and this is what worked for us, and this doesn't work. It may work here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that we've missed you wanted to mention? How can you get more dollars?
Yes, we're always pleading for more money. We were trying to be very diligent, so we did it in phases. So our first phase was construction. We raised the construction funds, and now we've turned and we focused on raising our exhibit funds. There are ways to utilize this space without those exhibits, but really the bulk of it are those hands-on exhibits, and those are very expensive. But they're expensive because they have to last like 20 some years. So they're built and built strong. Yeah.
So what can someone sitting on multi-million dollars do for you? How can they get that money to you?
Make the check out to Pickaway County Community Foundation, and in the memo line, put the Inspiration Station. Let's see, $1.5 million would kick us off, and we'd be great.
And we're always welcome to have conversations with anybody, and if anybody wants to tour the space, there's some sponsorship opportunities as well as naming rights for some of the exhibit pieces. So if that's something that they're interested in, we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with them.
Very good.